Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first YouTube series of Football Manager 2024. That's right, the full game is out. We did this on our Twitch save over the summer, but we are returning to the Journeyman format, and we are bringing it to YouTube. We are going to take our coach from the bottom to the top. So we're going to be starting off, just a couple of rules. We start off with no coaching badges and no footballing experience. Well, the Sunday League experience is the lowest we can go, so that's what we do. And we begin unemployed, so we start off looking for a brand new job, trying to find somebody who will take a chance on us, and then we move up every opportunity that we get. Of course, it needs to make sense, so we do believe in realism here on the channel. So we are not going to make any lateral moves unless we are in a highly unfavorable situation and we just need to get out. The whole point of this is to make steps up in our career, earning more money with more prestige for ourselves and taking on teams with a bigger challenge in a bigger league, hopefully ending up where we did last year as winners of the Champions League. That's if we end up in Europe, of course. If we're in South America, winning the Libertadores would do the exact same thing for us. So we don't know where we are going to end up. We just know where we're going to start. And that is with our coach. Everybody say hello to Nick Bottom. This year, we've decided to make him Greek, pretty much just random country. He's going to be from Malesina in central Greece because it sounded interesting to me. His birth date is going to be the 6th of November, which is FM release day in 2023. We are going to make him 32 years old, so a bit of a wonder kid himself. So he's got plenty of room to grow in age. Obviously, that is not representative of my actual birth date. Nick Bottom, of course, because of the pun. So we're starting bottom to get to the top. As far as the look of him, we just randomized. I did decide to make him 6'4", so at least he's standing about as tall as you would expect a lot of his players or some of his better players to be. We wanted to make sure he was not a diminutive figure on the sideline. We did, for kicks and giggles, on Twitch during the beta, we made our head coach as large as possible, and it was kind of a funny thing to see. We have decided he's going to be wearing hearing aids, pretty much because that was also part of the randomization process. As we mentioned, no coaching badges to start off. He's going to start as a Sunday League player. We're going to leave his management style focus on the default. So we're going to be as well balanced as possible. Didn't want to skew things one way or the other, give us as much of a challenge as we possibly could. We're going to be starting on the 12th of June, 2023. That is the earliest start date of a normal winter season schedule, kind of like the English leagues in Germany. They all start a little bit later, so we're starting at the earliest point we could in Europe. Hopefully we don't end up starting in Indonesia like we did last year. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be applying for jobs, any job that's out there. We are going to interview, and once we start receiving those job offers, we are going to take the best one for us, the one that we find most interesting, that's going to be the best challenge, and in a league that we feel is going to suit our current lack of talents best. Now, some additional things that I have set up for myself, just the way I personally like to play the game, is we're not going to be touching the personnel staff search screen. We are only going to be hiring staff members when positions are open, so we're not going to make vacancies if they don't already exist. And when they do exist, we are going to either place advertisements or we're going to take recommendations from our professional staff. We're also not going to be searching for specific players. So please keep out of the comments any Wonder Kid suggestions that you may have, especially when we get into the bigger leagues, when we can actually afford to be picking up players like that. We are going to try to grow this team as organically as possible, so we are going to rely on our scouting staff and the knowledge of the league and any players that may be presented to us in-game to round out our squads as we move forward. We are not going to take our knowledge albeit very limited knowledge of the footballing world and applying it to Football Manager. We are going to grow this as organically as possible and make it as much of a challenge as it would be if we were starting off as a head coach with absolutely zero experience. And one final note, because it's now available in FM24, we are going to be starting this save with the real world settings, which means that any transfers that have happened from the start date of 6/12 through the locked database, which I believe was October 18th, will still happen. And we are going to have to deal with those repercussions as they come along, if they are an obstacle that we will need to deal with wherever we end up. With that being said, we are going to confirm things, add our new head coach, and start playing our game. Just one last thing to note before we get started looking for a new job. We have loaded up every single available league in the database in the vanilla version of FM24. So any team out there that is playable in the game is available to us during this Journeyman save. And now we are ready to begin looking for our first job. Now, there is one thing I am going to do on this screen, as there are hundreds of jobs available, is we are going to actually take out the big boys. So, no Premier League, no Ligue 1, no Bundesliga, no La Liga. Frankly, we're not going to get those jobs. So we're going to just save our time, save our energy, and not even apply for them. So even with filtering all of those out and also taking out any international jobs, we just want club football for this save. We still have a ton of jobs to apply for. We're not going to do it all individually. We're not going to parse through them anymore. We are just going to hit that apply for all available jobs button. And we're going to see what happens as the offers roll in. 73 items in our inbox. It's a lot of jobs. We're going to see what we get and check to see as jobs roll in, of course. And hopefully we get an interview or two out of the deal. Well, with so many leagues loaded, this is going to be a very long and arduous job search, but it could be made a little bit shorter because it's the first time in my Football Manager experience, which only dates back to the latter days of FM23, our head coach is the leading candidate for a job. Yes, it's in Malaysia in the Liga M3 with Sarawak United. Do we want to be in Southeast Asia again? Start another Journeyman there? Probably not. But it's nice to be wanted. Maybe. Or at least have people think that we're wanted. Well, about a week has gone by. A few more jobs have come available. So, of course, we have applied for them. But we have also received our first invitations to interview for a head coaching position. In fact, we've got 6 of them. 2 of them have come from the Japanese Yasuda J-League Division 3. They are in the form of FC Gifu as well as Sanuki. Really like those kits. Kits are not going to have much of an influence on where we go, but if we do have a place that has a cool looking kit versus one that doesn't, I can be bribed with an aesthetically pleasing experience. We also have a league that we are very intimately familiar with because we coached there in our last Journeyman save at Nes Ziona, but Hapoel Kfar Saba in the Liga Leumit, which is the second tier of Israel, has also come knocking on our door saying, hey, we may want you to be our next head coach. So an ambitious club looking to potentially add on an ambitious, youngish, Greek-ish manager. Aside from that, we've got a pair of clubs as well from South Africa. We've got Black Leopards. They've got a very cool looking, what is that, lilac? Lavender? No, it's not lilac. It's a pinky purple. I don't know what color. Put it in the comments if you know what color that kit is. Also, Venda FC, blue and white. We like blue and white. The stadium has this really interesting sandy area behind the goals. I guess that used to be or is going to be a running track around. Not 100% sure. And we've also gotten our final job application, job interview offer from Trefellin Boys and Girls Club from the JD Cymru South, which is the second or third tier in Wales. So definitely a European club. Israel's also in Europe. We've got Southeast Asia. We've got South Africa. We've got a lot of choices. So let's step in and take our first interview. All right, maybe this is just the 13-year-old that still lives somewhere inside of me, but I don't know if I could work for a club whose primary kit sponsor is called Hot Staff. But we've got our interview. The first one we're taking is with FC Gifu in the J-League Division 3 in Japan, newly added into the game this year. Very excited about that. It's great to be here. Let's get started. First question, how would we overcome the relatively big obstacle of not speaking the language? Funny you ask that. I think I get on well with other languages and can learn pretty quickly. Can you explain why you appear to be in the running for a few jobs right now? I see they have not changed the interview process from FM23 at all. You're always going to get this question if you apply for more than one job at a time. Deep breaths. I'm merely considering my options. That's the answer we have given every single time. Why stop now? The club's been underperforming for far too long. Are you the right person to turn things around? I think, well, we don't have a reputation that we can fall back on. You back yourself to come in and make an immediate difference. I like that one. I'd make one or two small adjustments and then enjoy the results. I think that may be setting you up for failure, especially if we need to make more than just one or two small adjustments. We don't want to blow smoke up their butts and think the club is underperforming. So we're just going to go with the first answer. I'm all about motivation, and that's what'll get the job done here. On what scale would you be looking to make changes to our existing coaching staff team? See, we haven't looked at the coaching staff team, so we are going to, well, we're going to lie. We're going to say that we're happy to work with the staff that are already here. What about the general manager? Always happy to work with him. Do we have any thoughts on the club's current long-term vision? Now, their culture is to sign players under the age of 23 for the first team, something that I, as a player, love doing as well. I love bidding off the old guys and bringing in new blood. They want us to work within the payroll budget, grow the club's reputation. That's a bit amorphous because there's really no specific criteria on how to do that. Now, looking at the form, after 13 matches, they've only won 3. They've drawn 4, lost 6. 3 of their last 5 were draws, coming off a loss, a victory before that. So kind of 1-3-1 in their last 5, so sitting on 13 points and 14th place in the league. Maximum of 1-year contracts for players over the age of 34. Here's the nuts and bolts. They want to gain automatic promotion into the J2 League this season. And they want to be competitive in the Emperor's Cup while working towards, in the future, becoming an established J-League 2 team, then finally finishing in the top half, rounding out their 5-year vision. Again, we want a job, so we are always going to agree with management until we actually get the job, and then we try to do what we need to do. So we're going to say that seems perfectly acceptable to us. We are always going to agree in the target of a mid-table finish, so we are not going to try to get them to exceed expectations because we do not know what we are walking into. If hired, they're going to provide a transfer budget of £896,000. What do I think of this proposed figure? Always agree. What about a payroll of £34,500 a week? Would that be sufficient to get the job done? Sure. Do we have any other demands? Now, here's what we are going to do for all of these jobs. Yes, we really don't have a leg to stand on. We have 0 experience, but we think that it will be in the best interest of the club that hires us to send us on a coaching course. So we're going to ask every potential employer to do so. If they balk, we will back away from it. We are not going to insist. We are not going to make it a deal breaker. but it is something that would be very nice. Now, a lot of clubs, if they've modeled this exactly after FM23, especially when you're starting out, will think that you're just getting it to get a bigger and better job, which will make getting a bigger and better job easier. But in reality, we just want to be the best coach that we can be for where we are working at the time. We are not yet thinking about the next step, even though we know that wherever we end up to start things off, that is not going to be where we end up. So we're going to scroll down. If hired, I would like the board to allow me to continue my development by taking a course toward earning my next coaching badge. Now, they believe that we are sufficiently qualified to manage the club and are therefore unwilling to allow us to take the badge. So we are going to, again, accept that. We're not really in the position to threaten. We don't have any additional demands. That should do it, they say. Thank you for attending the interview. We will be notified of our decision in due course. Now, this would be a pretty boring video if I just made you sit through each of our 6 job interviews, and hopefully there are going to be more if we don't get any of these gigs. So we are going to go off camera. We're going to answer the questions identically each time. Obviously, we may get a question from one interviewer we didn't get from another, but whenever they ask us about the language, we're going to say the same thing. We're going to ask them all to give us a coaching course. We're going to have all of the same responses, so it's really going to be whatever job we want to be given, we are going to be given, and it's going to be on equal merit for each one. One thing I noticed in interviewing for all of these jobs is every single one, including the one in Wales, asked us about learning the language, which I thought was curious, until I hopped onto our manager profile and realized we only speak fluent Greek. Yet somehow we were communicating in perfect English in the interview. We still have yet to hear back from any of the 6 job interviews we've already been on, but we now have the opportunity to interview for 4 more positions, some other countries and leagues, giving us opportunities. So we're going to have a wide pool, hopefully, fingers crossed, to choose from when those offers start coming in. The first job that we have a chance at is at NK Solin, currently sitting 10th in the Supersport Priva NL in Croatia. We're also getting an opportunity to interview with Confiança. They are in Brazil's Serie C. So currently sitting in 3rd place. They were predicted to finish 10th, so they're overachieving right now. Maybe we start our career in South America. Who knows? Finn Harps in the Republic of Ireland in the SSE Airtricity League First Division, currently sitting in 5th place, have offered us the chance to interview. Would have been excited for this, except we don't really speak English, so we're going to have to answer those questions about the language again. And we've also been offered the opportunity to interview at another Brazilian club, Manaus Football Club. Couple of chances to go to South America. We're going to roll the dice. We're going to attend these interviews and see what happens, giving us a total of 10 potential jobs that we may get the opportunity to choose from if we are accepted for, well, frankly, all of them. Well, it's now the 22nd of June in game, and we have received our first job offer. A number of additional interviews have come in. We actually haven't been officially rejected by any of them yet. We've interviewed with, probably 18 to 20 sides right now. But Black Leopards Football Club in the 2nd tier of South Africa have come to us with a job offer. They're offering £425 a week, a transfer budget of £65,000 this year, with an annual payroll budget of £11,250. They want us to work within the payroll budget, finish mid-table in the NFD, that is the Gladbank Championship, as well as reach the Nedbank Cup proper. I'm not sure how difficult that is. By the end of the 2nd season, it is a 1-year deal, by the way, record a top half finish, work towards reaching the playoffs the year after, and finally reach the playoffs at the end of 2026-27, while we continue to challenge for a playoff place if we are not promoted by then. Now, we have, as I said, applied for nearly 20 jobs. We've applied for so many more of those. We've interviewed for nearly 20 jobs. So there are other opportunities out there in other parts of the world. So we are going to attempt to delay making a decision here. Obviously, Black Leopards is on the table. We are not rejecting them out of hand. And it's not even that we're trying to look for something better necessarily, but we just want to make sure that we are making the best decision for ourselves and our career. So we're going to see if Black Leopards is going to allow us to delay our decision for a week. If they don't, we may have to walk away from the opportunity. All right, they have agreed to the delay. So hopefully in the next week, we hear back from some other clubs and we can make as informed a decision as humanly possible as to where our journeyman career for FM24 is going to start. Well, it didn't take very long for more job offers to roll in. Venda Football Club, also from South Africa, the second tier, has offered us a position. £425 a week, much like Black Leopards, with a transfer budget of 30 grand and an initial payroll budget of £11,750 a week. Very similar aspirations. They want us to record a top half finish this year and reach the Nedbank Cup proper, then reach the playoffs the following year and continue the challenge for a playoff place in the years to follow. But we've got a very interesting job offer that also rolled in just a couple of minutes before. Young Reds have approached Nick Bottom. That is Antwerp FC's U23 side, offering us £2,700 per week. No transfer budget, but a $15K a week payroll to develop players for the main club while giving playing time to the first team players. The culture objectives are to offer only 1-year contracts to players over the age of 33, 2 years over 31, 3 years if they're 29 or older, with a minimum 3-year contract for all first team players. They want us to finish in mid-table in the Eerste Klasse amateurs and continue to finish in the mid-table for the years to come. Now, we're going to ask for delays for these two because, again, so many job offers or interview opportunities were out there. So we're going to see what else is out there. But maybe the lower reaches of the Belgian youth system may be a very interesting place for us to start our journey. Choices. A couple more job interviews have taken place, bringing our total to nearly 24 interviews we've sat for. We officially were rejected from our first job in the Liga Leumit in Israel. It's the first one of them to actually officially say, no, thank you, we've hired somebody else. And we have been offered a fourth job. This is at Sarawak United. This is in Malaysia. This is the one we were talking about. We were actually the front runner from the beginning. However, we're going to reject this job. They're offering us £170 per week to move halfway across the world when we've already been offered no less than 3 times that at other locations across the globe. So, Malaysia, thank you, but no thank you. And 3 new clubs have now approached us for filling their vacancies. The first is Malacca FC out of Malaysia. They're offering us £850 per week, which is a lot more than the last Malaysian club that approached us. They do have no transfer budget and a payroll budget of £12,500. They want us to sign players under the age of 21, work within that payroll budget, and grow the club's reputation while gaining automatic promotion into the Liga Super and being competitive in the Piala FA while repairing the club's financial damage over the next couple of years. Yandelos has also approached us from the lower leagues in Wales, offering us just £110 a week and a £450 per week payroll budget. They are not a professional club. We are going to walk away from that. We have much better offers on the table. And yet another position with Persikat Tenggal. This is in League 2 in Indonesia, a league that we know very, very well. Spent a couple of years there in our last journeyman save. £975 a week with a £55,000 transfer budget and a payroll budget over 14 grand. They just want us to work within the budget, grow the club's reputation, which seems to be a universal feeling, and be competitive in the Piala Indonesia while maintaining a top half finish in League 2 over the next 5 years. So it's time to make a decision. 5 job offers already on the table. Which one are we going to pick? Well, you're going to have to come back for the next episode to find out. Thank you very much for joining me today. If you like this, you want more FM24 content, be sure to hit that like button on the video. It helps the algorithm, helps grow the channel as well. Thank you to everyone who has watched all of the videos that we have produced over the last couple of months so far. Also, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you know when the next episode goes live, and we hope to see you then with our brand new club. Until then, bye-bye.